everyone, welcome back to another show of Fpl Yathu. You're with me, your boy Zuliti Nizande. And today we've clocked our 10th episode of the season. I mean, we should give each other like props for getting this far. Alright, so today we're going to talk about a few things, and the things that we're going to talk about are, first of all, we're going to review the matches that were played last week, which was game week 9. Despite that, we're also going to look at how our FPO Yathu league is looking like. So usually we do this every fortnight, and we look at the top three teams in the league, and after that we're going to look at the best defenders you can pick right now, best attackers you can pick right now, and best midfielders you can pick. And also I'm also going to touch a little bit about AFCON, African Cup of Nations, and the things that are going to happen when we get to African Cup of Nations. Lastly, we're going to pick our captain for game week 10, and also we're going to look at the game week 10 fixtures. So let's dive in. Starting with game week 9 matches. The first match we had was Leeds versus West Ham. This match was played on Friday. Leeds lost this game. Leeds won this game against West Ham 2-1, and the guys on the score sheet were Brendan Aronson and Rodon. Whilst for West Ham, we had Matthias Fernandes. It was really a tough game. Starting on Saturday, we had Chelsea versus Sunderland, whereby Chelsea borrowed their lead against Sunderland. The scores were Garnacho for Chelsea, and for Sunderland we had Wilson Isdale and Talby. We also had a match against Newcastle versus Fulham. Newcastle won that match 2-1. The goals were scored by Bruno Guimaraes and Jacob Murphy for Newcastle, and we also had Lukic score for Fulham. We also had a match against Man United against Brighton, whereby Man U won 4-2. I'm going to stop here after I mention the scores. Man U scores were Cunha, Casemiro, and Belmo with 2 goals, whilst Brighton scores were Costalua and Welbeck. So guys, Man U is back. I'm a Chelsea fan, but then I'm glad to tell you guys that Man U is back. Man U is playing good football, and now is the time that we can start getting Manchester United assets. Starting with Bruno Fernandes. We already know that Bruno Fernandes is on penalties, and the guy bags assists and goals. Let me say it, every 2 games. Okay, and besides that, they also have Mbeumo. From the start of the season to game week 9, Mbeumo has been sharp. The only difficulty he's had was maybe scoring goals, but then Mbeumo is really looking really sharp. So I think it's the time that people can start looking at Man U assets. You can also go for people like Amad Diallo, Matheus Cunha. So guys, keep an eye on these Man U guys. Going on to the next match, we had Brentford versus Liverpool. Brentford thrashed Liverpool 3 goals to 2. The scores were Dango Otara, Igor Thiago, and Shade. Whilst Liverpool had Salah and Kirkers. If you have Salah, guys, sell him, because with the price tag he has, he can't be giving you 6 points in a game week. It's not on. So sell Salah, guys. Moving on to another match, we had Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth won that game 2-0, and on the score sheet we have Tavernier and El Krupi. We also had Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, whereby Arsenal won that game 1-1. Eze scored against his old team. We also had a game against Aston Villa against Manchester City, whereby Aston Villa also surprisingly beat Manchester City 1-0 with a goal by Matty Cash. Going on to the other fixtures, we had Wolves versus Burnley. This match ended 3-2 to a win for Burnley. The scorers for Burnley were Fleming and Lyle Foster. Also for Wolves, we had Strand Larson and Munetsi. And the last game was Everton versus Spurs, whereby Everton lost to Spurs 3-0, and the guys who scored for Spurs were Van der Ven and Sarr. So you can see, like, this is how game week 9 went. And yeah, game week 9 was kind of tricky, kind of tough, because we had new players scoring. We had people like Jacob Murphy back on the score sheet. What people like Mateus Cunha back on the score sheet after what Cunha did last week. So I mean, we had different guys back on the score sheet. And now, before we go on to the best defenders and best attackers, I just want you guys to check out the top three of our league. Number one is Batea Carrera, um, Batea FC. He's number one. Number two is Kachule FC. The coach, the manager is Manny Johnson. Whilst for Batea Carrera FC, I think the manager is Batea. And number three, we have Titibwa FC. The manager is Sarzweli Zande. And that's my team, guys. So I mean, as a guy who gives you guys tips, I also have to be like showing to you that my tips are worth it. So starting in this league, I was in the bottom, but now I'm in the top three. So you can use my tips if you want to like do good. And looking at Malawi right now, I'm number 322, which isn't bad. And looking at worldwide, I've forgotten, guys. So yeah, I mean, if you follow our tips, if you join our group, we share different ideas in the group. So if you follow us, just know that you're going to be somewhere good in FPL. And I know that guys who come in my DM asking for different tips. I mean, guys, you can also tell your friends to join the group, so that you shouldn't be the only ones beating your friends, but then it should be some competition. All right, so going into the best defenders so far in the FPL Premier League. We have Van de Ven is the first defender that I've put, because Van de Ven scored 2 goals last game week, and he kept the clean sheet. He scored like about 23 points, and he's only the defender who scored higher points after Julian Timber, who scored 25 points. I mean, guys, Van de Ven this season has been good at the start. Just at some games, Newcastle, I mean Spurs look like they lost their aura, but then I think now Spurs are back, even though they have a difficult fixture against Chelsea, even though they're playing at home, but it's a difficult fixture. But then I think Van de Ven is a guy that you can look at, but then I'm not getting Van de Ven. But then if you want a defender who's a defense, you can look at Van de Ven. We have Julian Timber. We all know that the Arsenal defense is very good. They've only conceded 3 goals this whole season. So I think Arsenal defenders are really good, even though they're very expensive. But then go for Arsenal defenders. And Arsenal defenders that you can also go for, apart from Julian Timber, we have Calafiori, we have Gabriel, and Saliba. So these guys are the people you can look at. At least having 2 or 1, it's good because they bring points. And then we also have Rodon. He plays for Leeds. I mean, Rodon has been on fire this season. When I look at defenders from teams that got promoted, we have Rodon, we have Ballard. I mean, these guys are good because starting with Rodon, he's a guy who like works hard, he scores goals. And looking at Tim Ballard too, you know how Sunderland gambles on set pieces. So those big guys are usually put in front to destroy your team. So I mean, looking at these guys, they are really good in defense. And also looking at the upcoming fixtures for Crystal Palace, we can look at their defenders. But then I'll just look at the best defenders for Crystal Palace right now. We have Munoz, we have Gay. These guys are really playing good. So you can look at these guys. And also, just to add on, you can look at Lacroix because he's really cheap. So yeah, guys. We also have Senesi for Bournemouth. We know how Bournemouth now are keeping clean sheets. They're really looking good under Adrian Ariola. I think that's the coach. And then we also have Cucurella. The reason I put Cucurella here is because I think this guy might surprise us in some game week by maybe he might score 2 goals or give an assist, because the guy has been played in a striker position in the last game. So as someone who I watch almost every match in the Premier League, so I see how these guys go, how these guys play. So I think Cucurella is one guy that you guys can gamble on, put in your team and gamble on making him your captain. Okay, so we now look at the best attack. The best attack so far, we have Haaland. After Haaland, we have Igor Thiago. And Igor Thiago and his only striker who scored more goals after Haaland. And level with Igor Thiago, we have Daniel back, who looks like he's back on his scoring streak. So those are the defenders you can look at. I mean the attackers you can look at. We also have Watermaid for Newcastle. He's been scoring in every game so far that he's played. I think he's just blanked in 2 games. And then we have Benjamin Sesko. Like I've said, Manchester United are looking good now. So these are the like type of strikers that you guys can actually like gamble on what on taking on buying. And just another differential, even though FPO Harry, because I listened to FPO Harry's podcast, FPO Harry said that El Krupi, the Bournemouth striker, is a good option to buy. But then Evan Nilsson will be back. So we already know that Evan Nilsson was bought for a big price tag and that guy can be benched. So I feel like if you're thinking of getting El Krupi, you can get him as a bench player, but don't count on him that much. Maybe get him in a game whereby you don't like bench boost. So yeah, he might do wonders. But then after the next 2 games, when Evan Nilsson is back, I think El Krupi will be out of the team. That's what I think. And then we have the best midfielders. We have Saka, we have Semenyo, we have Kudus, we have Minte, we have Sar. This Sar is the Crystal Palace Sar. We have Mbeumo, and we also have Jamie Gittens. That's if he starts for Chelsea. That's if he becomes a starter. Because Jamie Gittens is really impressive in the wing. We can also look at Esteval. Okay, so those are the best defenders, best attackers, and best midfielders. But I know there are more guys who are like performing in the Premier League. I can't add everyone. If you know that there's someone that you can add, you can drop your ideas in the comment section so that you can also help other people with more tips. So before we go to Captain Picks, I wanted to talk about the African Cup of Nations. African Cup of Nations is coming next year, around January, February. So when African Cup of Nations starts, we have to expect that some players are going to leave their clubs. And we talk about players like, we talk about Omar Mamouche will be gone, Muhammad Salah will be gone, a couple of players will be gone. I think Mbeumo also, that's if his country qualified for the World Cup, he'll be gone. Semenyo too, he's playing for Ghana, he'll be gone. So this is what Fantasy Premier League has done. When you're going into game week 17, you're going to be given 5 free transfers, okay? But if you go in game week 17 with 4 free transfers, that means on game week 17 you're going to get 1 free transfer, making it 5. If you go with 3 free transfers, that means you'll be given 2 free transfers, making it 5. Okay, so let me say you want to start saving up for transfers, like let me say game week 10, you save up for transfers until game week 7. That means game week 7 you only be given 1 transfer, or you will not be given a transfer if you have more than 5 free transfers remaining. Please guys, listen carefully. If you have 4, 3 or 2 transfers going into game week 17, just subtract the number of transfers you have from the 5, and that's the amount of free transfers you're going to be given. So for myself, I'm going into game week 17, I'm going to have 1 free transfer. So meaning when I go into game week 17, I'm going to get what? I'm going to get 5 free transfers or 4 free transfers. You understand? So that's what's going to happen during the African Cup of Nations. And if you know you're relying on African players, I think this is the time that you have to start looking at different European choices that you think can make that difference. Okay, so now going into captain picks. Captain picks for this week. I have Saka, Mbeumo, and Erling Haaland. And looking at the matches, I think I'm going to captain Bukayo Saka because I just have a feeling that he's going to score high in some game week. And looking at this weekend's fixtures, we have Brighton versus Leeds at Brighton's home. This game, I'm giving it a draw. We have Burnley versus Arsenal, a straight win for Arsenal. I think a 5-0 or 4-0. We have Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Um, this is really a tough match for Brentford, so I'm giving it to Crystal Palace 2-0 after what they did to Liverpool. We have Fulham versus Wolves. I'm giving this match to Fulham, a 1-0, 2-0 win. We have Forest versus United. I'm giving this match to Manchester United because Forest is in good form right now. But then anything can happen. But then it's a straight win for Manchester United. I think a 3-0 win would be right. And then we have Spurs versus Chelsea. I'll stop here. Spurs versus Chelsea. As you can see, this is the big game this weekend. Okay, the big match this weekend is Spurs versus Chelsea. If we're going to shoot the big game predictions, this is where the predictions are going to lie on. Okay, but also you can drop your predictions in the comment section. If you want to stand a chance of winning 8,000 Malawi kwacha, you can make your predictions between Chelsea and Spurs, and make sure your prediction includes the goals and the players who are going to score. You understand? Yeah, and which team is going to win. So for Chelsea and Spurs, Spurs is home, Chelsea is away, and this is a different Spurs. It's not the highline Spurs we knew last season that were like, we're going to beat. But then this Spurs is like difficult because I think they're in the top 4 in the Premier League. So I really think Chelsea is going to have a tough match. It's going to go against a tough side, but nevertheless, I'm giving them the match to Chelsea. I think Chelsea can win this match with a 2-0 lead or maybe a 4-2 win at the White Hart Lane. Apart from that, we have Liverpool versus Aston Villa. I think this match went in a draw or a slight win for Aston Villa. We have West Ham versus Newcastle. This is a straight win for Newcastle. We also have Sunderland versus Everton. I think this game is going to be a tough match, but I feel like Sunderland is going to beat Everton because Everton hasn't been in like good in a good spell this season. I don't know what's really wrong with it, but then Everton hasn't been in a good spell this season, so it's really going to be a tough match. But I think I'm giving it to Sunderland. After what they did to Chelsea, I think Sunderland shouldn't be looked at like a small team again, because Sunderland now are playing like a champion, a Premier League team, a Premier League team that wants to fight for the Champions League spot, or maybe the championship too. So that was all we had for you today at Fpl Yathu. You're with me, your boy Zweliti Mizande, and I look forward to seeing you in our other episodes. And don't forget, we've reached our 10th episode this week. So as a surprise for the Fpl Yathu viewers, we've decided to add a few portraits just to make the setting look brighter. And I know people are going to be like, how come they only have London teams? Okay, we only have London teams today because these are the teams that are featured, but then we have different portraits. And yeah, if you want also to get a portrait like this painted for your own team, you can DM me, and then we'll talk about the prices and all that. But with all that being said, thank you very much, and see you in our next episode.